Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dreams to Keys Realty YouTube channel. I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor. Today, we are here to talk about the market, in particular, Gwinnett County. But first, I want to welcome all of you to our channel. Please make sure that while you're here, that you follow us, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any content that we post on this channel. Give me 1 second. Let me fix something in the background. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So again, welcome to our channel. Make sure that you hit the notification bell, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, hit all so that you will see any content that we upload or post, or even when we go live on this channel. I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor of Dreams to Keys Realty, and Dreams to Keys Realty is where your dreams turn into keys. If you need motivation in your home buying journey, or even as a seller of a residential property, then this is where you want to check out our content, where you want to come be a subscriber and follow us so that you see all of the wonderful topics that we'll cover. We've covered a lot thus far, but we will continue to cover more real estate topics, particularly on the residential side. Welcome, share the content, come in the live, come in on the replay, leave a comment, question, and we will reply and answer as soon as we can with the appropriate response. You'll see at the bottom of the screen that there's a link moving about. That link is a link that you can also find in the description box or on our other social media platforms, where you will see that link in the bio. The link will take you to where we will focus some of our highlights. We focus on a highlight of the week from the link in the bio, or in the case of our YouTube channel, it's the link in the description box. So for that link, you will click that link down below. It's beacons.ai/Jalon Strong. You'll click that link. It'll take you to a page which shows a variety of tabs. It shows some downloads, ebooks, things that you can purchase from our website. There's information you can get to contact me to get scheduled for a consultation. So many things are available from that link, and we update that link regularly. So make sure that you go to the link in the bio from time to time, or the link in the description box, and see what is on there at that moment, because we make additions from time to time. The most recent addition that has been made was the Down Payment Connect tab. This is a tab that can help you if you are looking to research if you qualify for down payment assistance, should you want or need it. If you would like down payment assistance, or just assistance toward any of the costs that may be associated with your home buying experience, then you will want to go to the Down Payment Connect tab at the link in the description box, beacons.ai/Jalon Strong, and that will help you to go through a series of questions, make some preferences, and then it will tell you how many and which down payment programs you are eligible for. Should you be eligible for down payment assistance programs, then that can help your realtor or real estate agent also work with your lender, who can also be called your mortgage broker or mortgage lender, to assist you in the process of your home buying experience with such programs. So that is a way to help you to stay informed, help you to be encouraged if you feel like you need assistance towards your home buying experience. So make sure you go to the link in the description box, or the link in the bio from whichever platform you're following us on at the moment, and then click the Down Payment Connect tab. We also have some information to share about a discount code. So at our website, dtkrealty.com, you can go to the shop tab or go straight to dtkrealty.com/shop and find our products and services. So you'll mainly find a lot of products there because from the service end, you can get a consultation with us from the link in the description box, which is a free consultation with a $15 no-show fee. But if you're looking for motivational clothing or products such as our Dreams to Keys Realty, My Dreams Have Keys collection, as well as our other merchandise such as ebooks, then you can find all of that at dtkrealty.com/shop. And you can use the code SISTAH, SISTAH. Use that code at checkout to get 20% off of all of our products, not services, but products. And that will last through this month, which the month of March is Women's History Month. So use the discount code SISTAH to receive 20% off of all of our products through them only. We are here to talk about the market data. We will be looking at Gwinnett County. We've previously been looking at the Lawrenceville zip code of 30043. This will be our last time at this point looking at that zip code because we want to move to other zip codes in the county to just see how different things look from different zip codes within the county. So we're going to start by pulling up our information for February 2025. So I'm going to share my screen. And pull up the information for the first multiple listing service data for the zip code of 30043, which is Lawrenceville in Gwinnett County of Georgia. And I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen. And it looks like everyone can. So we're going to review this the same way we have in previous lives. I will be looking at the January 2025 data so that we can assess the difference between February and January. And then the year-to-date data, we're just going to look at what's on the screen for February's data, because that would also include the January data, those 2 months. So we're going to do that. As I stated previously, we're going to move to another zip code when we look at March, because we've covered this zip code for quite some time, and we want to see what the other zip codes look like as far as these metrics. We want to see which one fares differently. Is this one the same as the next one as far as all of these metrics for residential detached as well as residential attached? With this document, we always start from top to bottom. This is complement of the first multiple listing service, which of course is an MLS, which I have access to as a realtor. And this is for February 2025. We start from the top moving down. The first category is related to residential detached property with the key metrics of new listing, pending sales, closed sales, days on market until sale, median sales price, average sales price, percent of list price received, inventory of homes for sale, month supply of inventory, and then we'll go to residential attached for the same metrics. Let's start from the top with the key metrics for February 2024. The key metric is new listings, but in February 2024, it was 91. And for February 2025, it was 90, with a decrease of 1.1% for those new listings in residential detached properties. Just for reference, residential detached means that the property is not connected to another. So this would be something like a single family home. In this category, we see that there's not much difference comparing the February months when we look at new listings. For January, we saw for 2025 that there were 59 for this zip code. So the new listings has increased from last month of that review. So January 2025 to February 2025, it has increased quite a bit. So 90 now, looking at this data, but 59 back then, about 31 new listings in difference. So that could be somewhat significant, though not statistically significant right here in front of us, but it could show some sign that we have more inventory on the market, but we'll keep looking. So now let's look at the pending sales. For February 2024, it was 53. February 2025, 52. Not much difference, 1.9% drop. Looking at January 2025, it was 40. So we have more pending sales than we had in January 2025 when looking at the February 2025 data. What does a pending sale mean? Pending sales are those sales that have not quite closed. So essentially, it's not a sale at that point yet. It's expected to be because there is an executed contract in place, meaning that there's a buyer and a seller that have agreed on terms, but the terms may not have finalized. For example, the due diligence period may not be up. There may be some things of concern that need to be addressed. And should they still not agree, that pending sale may not close. So pending sales are an indication of what is expected to close. But in some cases, for various reasons, the executed contracts do not turn into a closed sale. So looking at this, we see that we had more pending sales and more new listings as we moved from January 2025 to February 2025, which is encouraging if you are a home buyer and you're worried about inventory, or you're worried about if the market is moving. And the new listings kind of speak to the inventory, but we will continue to look at the inventory of homes for sale later on. And the pending sales give us some indication on what's going on in that market. What we can see from January to February is we're seeing more executed contracts going on in this zip code. That's encouraging to know. It may be encouraging for a seller as well, because that would help them to kind of get a glimpse of the likelihood of their property to sell. But there's more to take from the data, so let's keep going. Looking at closed sales, for February 2024, it was 58. For February 2025, it was 54, which showed about a 7% decrease. Now let's look at January 2025. For closed sales, it was 38. So we are seeing even more closed sales as well once we get to February 2025. Let's just pause for a moment. Think about all of the things that you may have heard in the media, in the news, about the market and what's going on and how the market is shifting and how there's concern for the market. And I want you to think if what you've heard in certain media sources and what you're seeing before you right now matches. And I want you to take into consideration, if you are someone who is looking to sell or buy a home, that it is very important to talk to a real estate expert in your area. Because as we see with this data, we have more opportunities, especially on the buyer's end, for you to find a residential detached property based on the trend we are seeing in this zip code alone. Again, this is just one city, one zip code. However, it's important to take into consideration where you want to live and speak to the real estate experts in that area, because what you hear in the media may not be reflective of what's going on in the market that you live in or want to live in. So make an informed decision based on those who are informed in your market area. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's move to days on market until sale. For February 2024, it was 30. For February 2025, it was 41. The change there is about 37% in difference, where there's a higher number or more days on market until sale moving toward February 2025. If you are a seller, this is not a column that you typically want to see with a higher number from month to month or even year to year, because this can give you an indication of how long it may take your home to sell from the time that you put it on the market. Days on market until sale is an indication of when that home first goes to sale until when it closes. This is not the days on market when a specific real estate agent or real estate broker took that property on as a listing and maybe dropped it, and then another one picked it up and created a new days on market. Days on market until sale is from the beginning of the property being on market until it sells. So for this number, we typically don't want to see it go up if you're a seller, because that may mean that you need to take some assessment of your finances, particularly if you're waiting for that property to sell to buy your next one. You may want to look at your finances and also this type of metric to determine if you're able to withstand these days on market if this is expected for your market. So here we see that we're looking for over 1 month, closer to a month and a half, for the residential detached properties in the zip code of 30043 until sale. Looking at January 2025, the days on market until sale was 44. So we've gone down by 3 days, but we're still closer to that month and a half time frame. Now let's look at median sales price. For February 2024, it was $414,500. For February 2025, it was $405,000, which shows a decrease of 2.3% in median sales price. Now, what is the median sales price? Median sales price is the middle point of all of the sales prices for all of the homes that sold in that time frame. The middle point is what the median means. So here we're seeing that the median sales price decreased as we compare February 2024 to February 2025. If you are a buyer, that may be encouraging because it may help you to know that your pre-approval price point is within reach if the median sales price is decreasing. But again, this is the median. So this is not the highest number or the lowest number. This is the middle point. So it can be encouraging, but it does depend on your preferences, your desires, and your pre-approval. Now let's look at January 2025. The median sales price was $430,000. So we have decreased quite a bit from January 2025 to February 2025, almost $25,000, if not exactly $25,000 for the median sales price. If you are a buyer and you were looking for a certain price point, even if you're trying to stay under what you were pre-approved for, this can be encouraging if you're looking for a residential detached property in the Lawrenceville area and you see that the median sales price is decreasing. It could mean that you're able to find that home or you're able to negotiate better for the home that you would desire in this zip code. And again, as we've seen with the previous metrics for this type of property, residential detached, that there's more listings and there's more movement as far as sales going on in this zip code looking at February 2025. Now let's look at the average sales price. For February 2024, it was $439,155. For February 2025, it was $448,682, which shows an increase of 2.2% in the average sales price. Now, the average is all of these sales prices for all of the properties that were sold. Again, this is under the residential detached category, and then divided by the exact number of properties that were sold. That's how you get to the average. So here we see that the average has increased, but the median sales price has decreased. Again, it depends on the category that we're looking at, median being the middle and the average sales price being taking all of those values or sales prices and dividing it by the numbers of properties that were included in those sales prices calculated. Now let's look at January 2025, for the average sales price, it was $442,668. So that is showing that our average sales price has increased from January to February 2025. And that's about $6,000 of an increase. So just to summarize what we've discovered thus far looking at this data is that we have more new listings, more closed and pending sales. We have a longer days on market until sale, lower median sales price, and higher average sales price than we saw back in January 2025. Moving on to the percent of list price received. In February 2024, it was 99.1%. In February 2025, it was 98.9%, which is a decrease of 0.2% or 0.2%. With this value, we look for it to be as close to 100% as possible because that would give us an indication in theory that the listing price is the correct price or the correct value or assessment for what the property would sell for. And if it's listed properly, then also the sales price would match that, and that would be 100%. So the closer that this number is to 100%, the closer we get to that theory being correct. Now, with this, we see that both of the categories are pretty close to 100%, though we see a decrease looking at February 2025. It's not one of statistical significance and likely not one that you would see or feel any difference in the market area. Looking at January 2025, the percent of list price received was 97.6%. So we have seen an increase in this percentage from last month in this metric evaluation. So January 2025, it was 97.6%. February 2025, 98.9%. So we do see improvement there. Now let's look at the inventory of homes for sale. For February 2024, it was 92. For February 2025, it was 156, which showed about a 70% increase in the inventory of homes for sale for residential detached properties in the zip code of 30043. Just looking at the numbers alone, that looks significant. And then looking at the statistical significance, that is significant. Now let's look at the January 2025 inventory of homes for sale data. It was 147. So we have seen a slight jump even from January, but a significant jump moving back from 2024. So there are much more homes on sale in this market under the residential detached category. If that is a property type that you desire and you're looking in the Gwinnett County area, this would be a city or zip code that you should consider if that's of importance to you. Having such inventory to choose from that you can pick of more homes, and the inventory appears to be growing based on the new listings and the inventory of homes for sale metrics. Now let's look at the month supply of inventory. For February 2024, it was 1.5. For February 2025, it was 2.5, which shows a statistical significant difference of about 67%. Month supply of inventory pretty much says that these are the amount of months it would take for all of the inventory on the market at that time to sell without any additional inventory being added. So based on February 2024, it would have taken 1.5 months. For February 2025, it would have taken 2.5 months. For January 2025, it was 2.4 months supply of inventory. So we're just about the same as we were for January 2025. But what we are noticing is that we have so much inventory on the market that it's going to take us much longer for all of that to sell. That will be encouraging for a buyer to know. Maybe not so encouraging for a seller, but if you have strong features or certain selling points about your property that can stand out, that can help boost your property to sell faster. Let's move on to the year-to-date data. So here we're just going to look at the data on the screen for, again, residential detached with the key metrics of new listings through February 2024. It was 151 and 150 for February 2025 with a slight difference of 0.7%. For pending sales, it was 109 for January 2024 and 100 through January 2025. Another slight difference, but of more statistical significance at 8.3%. The closed sales through February 2024, it was 100. Through February 2025, it was 94. Here we see a 6% difference. And with all of these differences, you'll notice that there are drops from February 2024 to February 2025. The days on market until sale through February 2024 was 33, and through February 2025 was 42, which is where we see our first increase here, just like we did with the month-to-month data comparison. So here it is 27.3%. We are seeing that comparing the years through these time frames, there were slightly less new listings, pending sales, and closed sales through the year than we saw in 2024 at the same point. And then with the days on market until sale, we see an increase. So the days on market until sale, again, is when the property is first listed until it is sold. Now, median sales price is year to date through February 2024, $414,500. And then through February 2025, it's $420,500, which is an increase of 1.4%. Again, median sales price is the middle point. The average sales price through year to date of February 2024 was $437,619. Through February 2025, it was $445,911, which shows an increase of 1.9%. So just to look at these values overall year to date, we see that the new listings, pending sales, and closed sales were all decreasing as we got to this year thus far, looking through February. But when we move from the days on market until sale, median sales price and average sales price, those are growing in percentage and number. Percent of list price received through February 2024 was 99%, and through February 2025 was 98.4%, which showed a decrease of 0.6%, which all of those numbers are close to 100%, which does not give us much to take away from that. But it does give us some indication on the theory of if the list prices are being listed close to the sales prices. Now, you'll notice that some of these categories have asterisks next to them, such as median sales price, average sales price, and percent of list price received. And that asterisk pretty much means that this data does not take into account any concessions, down payment assistance, or things of that nature. So those would be outliers to the data that you see. All right, so that wraps up the residential detached. Let's move down to residential attached, but I'm going to take a moment to just see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, please put your questions down in the chat box, in the comment section, and we will get to them as soon as we see them. Even if you're watching the replay, make sure that you leave your questions and comments down there if appropriate, so that we can answer them as soon as we see them and make sure that you're understanding the content. Now for residential attached, we're going to move through this a little bit faster because we've explained a lot of it with the residential detached category. So with the key metrics of new listing for February 2024, it was 13. February 2025, 19, with a change of a increase to 46.2% moving toward February 2025. The numbers themselves are much smaller in this type of property category for this zip code. And for January 2025, it was 26 for new listings. So we see that the new listings have dropped when we look at January to February, but just comparing February months, we do see an increase. Moving to the pending sales, For February 2024, it was 5, and the same for February 2025, which showed no increase or decrease. We are at the same value. And looking at January 2025, the pending sales were 11. So we had much more back in January. So here we're seeing the opposite going on as what we saw in residential detached categories. Now let's look at the closed sales. February 2024, it was 5. February 2025, it was 9, showing a percent increase of 80%. Now it's easier to get higher increases in the percentages here because of the numbers being so small, but we do see that we have more closed sales in February 2025 and more new listings in February 2025 than in 2024. For January 2025 for closed sales, we had 7. So we do have more closed sales here in February than we had in January. Days on market until sale. For February 2024, it was 17. For February 2025, it was 37. Again, these are days on market, so we typically would not like to see this number increasing because that is showing that those properties are not selling as fast. And with that percent, it is statistically significant and probably well felt in the market because that percentage difference is 117.6%. For January 2025, it was 49. So we are seeing that it has dropped from January 2025 to February 2025 by about 12 days. So that's encouraging. However, just looking at the February months, it's taking much longer for those properties to sell in this zip code. Now looking at the median sales price for February 2024, it was $335,000. For February 2025, it was $387,374. And that showed an increase of about 16%. Again, this is the middle point of all the values of the sales prices for the properties during that month. Now, looking at January 2025, the median sales price was $340,000. So the median sales price is increasing, though we're seeing less movement in this market. The increase here for the median sales price is about close to $40,000, a little bit under that though. Now let's look at the average sales price. For February 2024, it was $341,610. For February 2025, it was $369,898, which showed an increase of about 8%. For January 2025, it was $347,214. Now that is also showing that the average sales price is increasing from January 2025 to February 2025. So what we're seeing is that not only in median, but also in average sales price, that the prices are going up, though the properties are staying on the market for longer. It'll be interesting to see how long these prices continue to go up as these homes are not selling. So we'll see more about that in the future. The percent of list price received for February 2024, it was 98.1%. For February 2025, it was 98.9%, with an increase of less than 1% at 0.8%. For January 2025, it was 100.5%. So we're definitely lower in the percentage here than we were for January, but overall, all the numbers are rather close to 100%, which will be the theoretical goal here. And again, these columns, the median sales price, average sales price, and percent of list price received all have that asterisk, which says that it does not account for sale concessions and or down payment assistance. And the percent changes are calculated using rounded figures and can sometimes look extreme due to the small sample sizes. And here we definitely see small sample sizes looking at the residential attached category. Now let's look at inventory of homes for sale. For February 2024, it was 15. For February 2025, it was 66, which showed an increase of a statistical significant 340%. Looking at January 2025, it was 57. So it's not as statistically significant when we look at January, but for February, it is quite statistically significant, which means this market is holding on to homes by a great deal. And we see that in the next category. February 2024, for the month supply of inventory was 1.7, but for February 2025, it was 7.1, which showed a statistically significant difference of 317.6%. That means that this market is holding homes for at least, I'm sorry, let me say that the right way. For all of the inventory in the market, with no additional inventory being added, it would take 7 months, over 7 months, for all of that inventory to sell. Back in January 2025, that value was 6.3. So it was just over 6 months, but it is still growing. It's taking much longer for properties in this market to sell in the residential attached category. It's taking a little bit longer, as we saw above, with the residential detached, but nowhere near as the time it's going to take for all these homes in the residential attached to sell. Meaning that this market is showing it prefers residential detached properties. We've seen that from month to month. So that's something to know if you're looking in this zip code, that if you're looking to, and if you're someone who says, I want to buy a home and I'm not necessarily going to live in that home for 30 years or so, I just want that to be my starter home. It's very important. And it's a reason why we as realtors, real estate agents, real estate brokers, we want to talk to you about your plan, because you can say that you want to buy a home in this zip code, but if you don't want to live out in that property, then you may find yourself in certain situations that you may not desire later on. For example, if you say you want to buy a townhome in the zip code and you want to sell it within a certain amount of time, and then you find yourself looking at the data like this, where it's saying it could take 7 months for the whole inventory to sell in that zip code with that type of property, then you may find yourself wanting a buyer, but not getting your buyer in the time you may need for you to move on to the next property that you desire, whether that be your dream home, or maybe you need to relocate, or for other reasons. So it's very important that you think about your plan, where you see yourself, and review the data. Of course, it will change month to month, year to year, but it's important that you have some type of game plan going on from the beginning, so that you're not setting yourself up to have an issue later. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's why some people look at school districts, even if they don't have children, because if they don't plan to live in that zip code for a long time, or in that property for a long time, the person that buys it after them may be very well concerned about the school district, the zip code, and all of that. So there's things that you might want to factor in if you're not looking to buy a home for your forever home in this zip code. So those are things to think about. The year-to-date data for key metrics, new listings through February 2024, it's 20, or it was 20, and it was 45 through February 2025, which showed a statistical significant increase of 125%. So we are seeing more new listings this year thus far. Pending sales through February 2024, it was 13. Through February 2025, it was 17, which is another increase here of about 31%. So we see more pending sales this year. And for closed sales, we see the through February 2024, it was 10. Through February 2025, it was 16, which shows another increase of 60% here. So days on market until sale, we see through February 2024, it was 26. Through February 2025, 42. This is days on market until sale, which that is another significant difference of 61.5%. Excuse me. So the pattern we're seeing here is that we have more properties here. We have closings going on. We have pending sales going on. But the properties or the inventory is not matching the demand, because we're holding on to inventory for quite some time. And if you're someone who's familiar with this zip code, that does not surprise you because you continuously see townhomes, condos, or different types of residential attached properties coming up, and the movement is not quite matching that. I think this market really looks for is single family homes. It really looks for that, but that's not what's been built as of lately as far as new construction. So that might have done a disservice to what the market is looking for in this area. Now, let's look at the median sales price. Through February 2024, $343,250. Through February 2025, $364,950, showing an increase of 6.3%. The average sales price through February 2024, it was $342,545, whereas through February 2025, it was $359,974, showing an increase of 5.1%. So here we're seeing that everything's increased. The new listings, pending sales, closed sales, days on market, median sales price, and average sales price. And even here, we're going to the percent of list price received through February 2024. It was 97.9%. And through February 2025, it has been 99.6%. So that's an increase as well of less than 2%. So things are staying in the market much longer for our residential attached properties, those properties that are connected. But this market moves a bit more for our residential detached properties. That's something to take away if you're concerned about that. Now, this is just our graphs to kind of confirm what we talked about. I'm just going to pause here to just see if there are any questions. Of course, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and we will reply to them, whether you're making the comment through the live or on the replay. Trying to go back to our image. So the graph on the left is reflective of the first data that we talked about, but it is rolling back as far as January 2014. It is a rolling 12-month calculation. So as we continue to look at data, it continues to add data and move the graph along. Now, this is median sales price. So again, median is the middle sales price of all of the prices for that time period. So just to give a brief summary of what this graph is saying, the gray line is the all MLS, so all of the first multiple listing service data that they have through these same time frames. And the green line is the zip code we've been reviewing, which is 30043, which is Lawrenceville in Georgia in the county of Gwinnett County. So you can see that the trend for both the all MLS and this zip code pretty much stays the same through the 2014 through, I would say, 2021. And then somewhere around, let's say, first, second quarter of 2021, it splits. And this zip code starts to take off more than the all MLS data. So the zip code of 30043 crosses the 350,000 mark at January 2022. And it continues to soar, crossing over $400,000 once we see the January 2023 data. And then it kind of calms down around the approaching of January 2024, and it's taken up even slightly as we end this graph. You'll notice that even that the all MLS is below the zip code here, that the pattern of the lines still seem to be the same, though the all MLS data does not pass the $400,000 mark as we look at this graph as it is. Now, looking at the median sales price for the graph for the residential attached properties, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, Same type of rolling 12-month calculation and data being reviewed, but you'll notice that the sales prices are much lower to start with on the left or the y-axis than they would be on the other graph. So January 2014 is where we started on both graphs, and we noticed that the all-MLS data kind of stays a little bit more consistent on the residential attached graph, kind of moving almost in a, what is that? Not linear fashion, but it's almost like a straight diagonal line. And then the the zip code is kind of bouncing around it, starting off under it for a majority of the time until we get to about same time frame, I would say. So this one looks like after January 2022, before 2023 is when it splits, and then the zip code starts to have a higher median sales price than the all MLS does. And at the end of this graph, you see that the zip code is between the $350,000 mark and the $400,000 mark, which should be what we referenced before. Now, the all MLS data is ending just about at the $350,000 mark at the end of this graph. So at somewhere between the middle of 2021 in the residential detached category is when there was a split between this zip code and the all MLS data. But on the residential attached screen, we see that it was after 2022 that there was a split and the zip code started having a higher median sales price than the all MLS data. So it was around the pandemic, after the pandemic began, about a year or two, where we saw these zip codes do a split and take a higher median sales price than the all MLS data. Now I'm going to stop sharing. All right, so this is pretty much the data that we were intended to review for today. And I hope that you all enjoyed it. I hope that if you have any questions, had any questions, that either it was answered during this live today, and if you're catching us on the replay, that you can put your comments in the comment section, and that we'll catch them on the replay and answer them as we see them. Hopefully, we've answered your questions as we're going through them. But if you have individual questions or concerns, please make sure to schedule a free consultation from the link in the description box, where it's called Let's Talk, which is our consultation tab at the link beacons.ai/Jalon Strong. At that link, there's a number of things that you can do, such as get to our ebooks, download free information. You can also go to our shop, use that code we discussed earlier, and I'll put that back on the screen. So you can use the code SISTA at our shop, which is dtkrealty.com/shop for 20% off of our products through the rest of this month. And that is to celebrate Women's History Month. So please do so. We look forward to celebrating the month with you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and we will respond as soon as possible. We will see you in the next live. I'll be going live to cover DeKalb County. So make sure that you go to that live as well if you're interested in that county or to know more about that market. We'll cover it in a similar fashion as we've covered the information here for Gwinnett County. And the same type of theme is going on. So we've been covering this same zip code for Lawrenceville in Gwinnett County for some time. For the next time we cover market data for Gwinnett County, we will cover a different zip code because we want to move around and show more about the overall picture of the market. We want to get a feel for what each zip code, of course, is doing, but we also want to be aware that there are so many zip codes in this county, and we want to cover more zip codes to make you more informed and to help us to be of more service for you when you are looking for buying, selling, or renting to owning any residential property in these areas. Thank you for joining. I am Jalon Strong, the Essential Millennial Realtor of Dreams to Keys Realty, and Dreams to Keys Realty is where your dreams turn into keys. I hope that you have a great rest of your weekend and Women's History Month.